Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching the John Woodard Show. There's been so much talk about racism in politics today. I wanted to give you an opportunity to meet a very nice lady who works for an organization that is doing their level best to turn around the narrative that the Dems are using and to show Black Americans throughout the country that the Democratic Party is not their friend. So we have today with us a very nice lady by the name of Donna Jackson. She's she's in senior management with a company called Project 21, which was started by Horace Cooper years and years ago. And I'm so glad to have her on the show with us today. Donna, you're wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. I am happy to be here. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my background is actually in accounting and finance. So I started off with Ernst & Young. I was an auditor on Fortune 500 companies. I was managed tax provisions for Marriott, and then I was deputy controller and vice president for the Export-Import Bank. I look at a lot of issues from an economic standpoint because it all has to do with that. When you're looking at regulations, it's always adding cost to whatever you're adding. And you know, I also had a lot of forays in politics. I worked on Governor Mike Huckabee before he was governor, his campaign. Also Governor Asa Hutchinson, but before he was governor, when Arkansas was the blue state and we were getting those early wins. So, and I have also a background in ministry.
How long have you been with Project 21?
I've been with Project 21 about three and a half years now. I started off because when I was hearing these false narratives, well, I've always been a conservative, I'll say that, but I was hearing all these false narratives about, you know, corporations not paying their fair share, about this systematic racism, that there's no opportunities for African Americans. And I know that a lot of the regulations in cities are the cause, a lot of the liberal regulations, I should say, in liberal cities are the cause for systemic poverty in these communities. And because I've experienced a lot of that, I wanted to fight against that and be a voice to give a balanced view that says that all African Americans are not victims. We don't all think we're victims, and we don't think that we can't compete on our own merit.
That was a mouthful, and I got to tell you, that's the word that ought to get out over and over and over again in the public domain, so that people will know that there's a group like yours that are trying to uplift people that have been downtrodden for a whole range of reasons, that you are going to be the tip of the spear for trying to improve the lives of ordinary Black people throughout the country.
You know, absolutely. The one thing that people don't realize is that poverty is big business. That's why you have liberal policies that are creating more of it, because off of the backs of poor people, they can expand the size of the government, they can make money off of it. And so why would you want to end something that is very lucrative to a lot of the liberal politicians? And that's why they pretend to be helping, but really who they're helping is themselves, while they're actually defrauding the taxpayers in America. And so I need to make sure that people understand these are not policies that African Americans want. These are policies that are being created by elite, rich, white liberals in the name of Black people. And then they tell Black people to fall in line and do what they're told.
What is your position at Project 21?
I'm the director of membership development. So what I actually do is go into various, I search various communities throughout the country. And I actually, the best way to sum it up is I recruit African Americans who are conservative, but they don't know it yet. So I go policy by policy. And when you bring up the policies, you realize that African Americans are very conservative. If you say the C or the L, or you say the R and a D, then that's where the only difference comes in. But what I do is focus on the policies, and then I get those individuals in that community to become that they're most of the time they're leaders, or to become leaders in that community, and then spread that message so that on the level of the individuals in that community, they can communicate the fact that liberal policies are the ones that are destroying our communities. And the answer is a lot of the conservative policies that can actually build them up economically. I'll give you one example. When the government sends a check to an African American, they're not these free transfer programs, welfare, whatever you call it. They're not trying to help that person get out of poverty. What they're doing is paying that individual not to be a viable working individual. They're paying them to not innovate, to not create industry. They're paying them not to create businesses in their community. What they're doing is they're paying them not to be innovative. If you have to work, you develop marketable skills that are useful to your community, and you can become an employer. And that's the most important thing, is that we make people realize that they're able, through their own work, to be able to bring their communities up. The difference, if you look at the Jewish race that came over here after the Holocaust, and you look at Black Americans, the Jewish community didn't embrace the state, the welfare state. But we've turned over the raising of our kids. We've turned over taking care of our households to the government, and the government doesn't want us to come out of that poverty, because they can build bigger institutions. They can create more government program, more government waste at the expense of the taxpayer in the name of African Americans.
That's a terrible indictment of a portion of our political elites in this country that really fits very well into other elements of what the Democrats are doing in the name of so-called trying to help people, when the reality is that there is no connection. For example, there are this push toward socialism and communism, Marxism, all of those. I think they're trying to convince Black people that this is a way for them to continue with the lifestyle that they've become accustomed to without having to pay a price for it. And this, Klaus Schwab said one time, he's the chairman of the World Economic Forum, he said, under our system, you will own nothing and be happy.
And that's 100% what they're trying to do. You know, the whole—
I don't think that. Go ahead.
The whole basis of Marxism, socialism, communism is that the government has all of the answers. The government controls all of the property, and the government is the one that knows what's best for your family. So whether it's how to raise your kids in education, whether it's what kind of food you get to eat, what kind of car you get to drive, it's the government that is dictating that, and it takes away the rights of the individual to pursue the type of lifestyle that they deem is appropriate for their lives. And that's the worst thing that America could embrace. Now, I'll tell you, one of the ways that they work to do that is to be able to destroy families, the nuclear families, because with the nuclear family intact, you will have individuals who will see they'll see the value in being able to achieve and being able to help and being able to contribute to society. So when you see all of these policies that are coming in, like transgender and critical race theories, those are all designed to destroy the family. When you destroy the family, it's easier for the government to come in and control your life, because now all of a sudden, instead of you having a natural father in the house, now the government is your father, and now the government is the parents for the kids. I always say, one of the things that I say, and the reason why I've been so actively involved in this type of activity is efforts, is because one of the things that they've done is they started this social program with the Black community. So we've already been far along in socialism. Now they're introducing it into all of the greater American society. And the way they're being able to push it forward is to blackmail people and say, if you don't accept these policies, then now you're racist. It's because that you're white supremacist, that you're racist, and that you're hurting the rights of another group. One of the things that I always tell people is the rights of the group never supersedes the right of the individual. We're all created equal. We all have the right to pursue our happiness. It doesn't mean that because my destiny in determining what I want my outcome should be, should not be deterred by the fact that a group says, no, I'm offended by it. Well, I'm offended by the fact that you believe that our Constitution doesn't apply to me, because that's exactly what you mean or what you're doing when you take away my rights in the name of a group. The Constitution is for everyone, and we should never give up our rights because someone says, and they have these group of individuals who's supposed to know better than everyone else, because these group of individuals say you're taking away the rights of a group, but they're the ones that are actually creating the agenda. America was started on the premise that we can own land. Ownership, property rights are all those things that have made America great. We should not go backwards because someone is offended that we're working in the rights that have been endowed to us by our Constitution of America.
A lot of people have fought and died for the Constitution of the United States on both sides of the racial divide, and the Democrats don't want Republicans and Democrats to get along. They don't want black and whites to get along. They want to continue to divide people along racial and ethnic lines because it serves their purposes. Do you agree?
Absolutely, because when you realize that what makes us, what we have in common is a constitution that applies to all. And it's our humanity that's been endowed to us by our Creator that gives us the freedom. When I think about the patriots that started this country, I mean, when you think about it, these were some ragtag farmers from a third world country that took on the greatest superpower in the world, which was the England. And they won. They won.
Some of them
it
with
was
no
freedom.
shoes and
They were ill-equipped. They were not trained. They didn't have the equipment that they needed, but they had this zest for freedom. We should never take our freedom for granted, because when you do, that's when people will take it away. But when you see what these men and these women went through, many of them to their deaths, their businesses were destroyed, their families were divided, but they fought for their freedom. And we should never take that for granted. And we should never relinquish it because someone says, I'm offended. Well, I'm offended if someone tells me that I don't have the right to believe in the Constitution and all of the rights it guarantees me.
Have you been to any of the corporate board meetings that I was hearing about, talking about wokeness and trying to ask questions of corporate leaders about their positions on wokeness?
A lot of our colleagues specialize in that very area. And I worked with a lot of Fortune 500 companies, especially in my days in auditing and when I was in the private sector in accounting. The fact that we've moved this far along from where the main objective of businesses were to maximize its profits for its stakeholders and shareholders. And I don't mean just like people who are invested in the company, but people who work for the company, your cashiers, your managers, all of those things. And we've moved so far away from that is astonishing to me. I have participated and spoken with the leaders of AT&T, of DirecTV, when they got rid of, when they tried to deplatform One America News. And I said to them, how are you sitting there going against the mandate that your company has to make sure that this company is profitable and that you give your customers the best experience they can get? You shouldn't be submitting and making policy and governance from a position of wokeness, because it's going against everything that businesses were built for. And I don't know how these corporations will be able to continue to make money if they continue on this path, because it's about the customer experience, not about if this person finds this this person is checking the box and not getting the best and brightest individuals that can run that company and can increase the experience of those customers. It's something that's it's unheard of. And you know, I think that we as investors, we as customers need to be more vocal in that and paying attention to what they're doing, because that's affecting our experience as well. And so you cannot continue to make a good product. You cannot continue to have a good service if you're doing this experiment in critical race theory, or finding the right balance of if you're this color or that color. If you look for the best and the brightest, all of those people are going to be included anyway. But the fact that you're sitting down here and saying, I'm just going to pick somebody not based upon their merit, not based upon how they can add value to the company, but just because they happen to check the right box. That's the wrong direction. And you'll see some of the catastrophes that you have in most communist countries.
Disney is probably the one that has startled me the most. A company that was founded to provide an entertainment opportunity for all ages, but mostly for children. How they have turned on a dime has been startling, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, Disney is supposed to be a family entertainment company. And what they've done is decided that they want to destroy families instead. And that's going against their very mission. I don't know how long that they will be able to continue to be in business with that mission and agenda. And I think it's being reflected in their earnings and their revenues now, because it's of all the companies, they've lost the most in terms of revenues, and their stock prices are plummeting because families want wholesome entertainment. They're not sitting there wanting you to tell their kids what they should be or shouldn't be. They don't want you to take over their families. They're not having you give the values of what families should believe, and they're forcing it on people. That should be between the parents and the child, not a company that thinks this their mandate to determine what we're able to believe and what we're not. And I think that's horrible.
Do you or any of your members visit schools or regions and talk to the public?
Absolutely, I do a lot. I talk a lot about critical race theory. We have lots of our members that are involved in speaking engagements, going to schools, providing coalitions with various groups, because we're fighting against critical race theory, which all of that is rooted in, which is that Marxist ideology that's designed to destroy. Basically, critical race theory wants to destroy the country from the inside out. And so we go and we point out that of all the tools that they have out there, this is the most dangerous, because it tells people that there are groups of people that no matter what they do, they can never succeed. They can never improve. It's this soft bigotry of low expectations that you can never perform and you'll never succeed. And so why even try? But then from another perspective, it tells people that your faith is actually what's destroying this country. Because critical race theory says that white people are born evil and they're irredeemable. That means that not even salvation in Jesus Christ can save you. That means there is no room for forgiveness. And that is forgiveness and redemption are the foundations of faith. And what critical race theory wants to do is take faith out of society, because then you can make people helpless, you can make them homeless, and then all of it helpless, you can make them hopeless, and then all of a sudden the government can come in and you just have to do what you're told.
I think that I would like to talk with whoever is necessary to have one of your speakers come down here and try to do it in a central location where you'll get a large number of people and talk about what you're saying to me today, and make, let them know that there are people out there like you and the others that work with you that they can aspire to and learn from. This is what the Black community has been missing, because you have all the people that do what you just said, tell people that they can't succeed, they can't achieve. Look at all the people that have come out of the ghettos and have worked their way to the top of media organizations and corporations and become world-renowned physicians and everything. So anybody can do these things, but you gotta have somebody that sometimes to just give you a little nudge.
Absolutely. All of our members can attest to the fact that we've come from various backgrounds, not always easy. A lot of single parent households, a lot of broken communities, dangerous communities. But I'll tell you this, we have economists, we have financiers, we have constitutional lawyers. All of these people can say that poverty was never an issue that stopped us from achieving. And we are the embodiment of the fact of what you can achieve in the United States, the greatest country in the world, if you just believe and take advantage of all the opportunities here. The only person that's stopping Black America from moving them forward is Black America and their mental state of believing that they can, because there are people out there who want them to think they can so that they can use them and exploit them to make money. And this is why we have Project 21. We believe in free markets, we believe in capitalism, education, upward mobility, and nothing in our Constitution, and nothing is holding us back from being able to achieve whatever we want to. So absolutely, we would love to set up something like that. You can find out more about our organization at the National Center at project21.org, or the National Center at nationalcenter.org. We have individuals that will be willing to do this. And if you just, let us know, and maybe we can make some logistics to make that happen, certainly love to do it.
This has been a very interesting and uplifting discussion. I'm so appreciative that you've come on our air. This is going to be spread all over the United States, this interview. I've got correspondents in foreign countries, plus, a large number right here in the United States. So this is not just a North Carolina issue. I'm going to spread it far and wide. There's a lot of white people who may have heard of Project 21, many not, and don't know anything about the organization what your mission is, how you go about accomplishing your mission, what your goals and objectives are, and I'm going to do my best to get that information out there. This is something that the American public needs to know about, and embrace it, because you are the people that are going to help get this, heal the divide between the races, and hopefully give some message to a young child out there that's going to take it to heart and be uplifted and empowered by it. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today. It's been very interesting, and I hope that we can that I know that we will follow up on it. So thank you again. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you think is relevant to the discussion we've had?
Yeah,
That you would like to say before I close?
yes, the one thing I want to say is, Project 21 produces a lot of publications as well. We do what it means to Black America, like what critical race theory means to Black America, what illegal immigration, various what if series. But we also put out a blueprint for a better deal for Black America, where we highlight various areas. We have 12 different areas. We don't just highlight the areas to focus on, but we present solutions, some 56 solutions of what should happen right now, from everything from repealing laws to creating executive orders. We have various numbers that we talk about: crime, critical race theory, multiple areas. And all of these publications can be used, and the solutions can be implemented in our government systems, organizations today, and they work. And so I think that, that along with the knowledge and our individuals that are willing to have boots on the ground to help people disseminate the information, help them, give them hope. We certainly want to partner. We don't believe in division. We don't want division. We think that this country can be unified, and race should never, never be an issue, because we're all created equal and we all have the same shared humanity. And I think that's the takeaway. You are my brother. I am your sister. And we, as Americans, should lift each other up and be one nation under God.
Very well spoken, my friend, and I thank you so much for sitting in today and talking with me. And I'm going to follow through on an attempt to try and get a meeting in a central location where we can get a large number of people and bring in as many people from your organization as you think will be necessary to cover all the various issues. And I thank you so much for talking with me today. Eden says you're a gem, and I have to agree with her.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This was great. It's a pleasure, and anything I can do, I'm here to help.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
And if I don't see you before Thanksgiving, have a great one, okay?
You too as well. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Bye now.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.